covered a variety of stories from business to Syria bomb blasts to human interest features on Iraq while living abroad in Dubai. After that, I returned back to Canada and started covering news on marijuana. And now I'm a reporter for Torstar Media covering municipal affairs and education. I am versatile in reporting and continuously intrigued by different stories and creations, especially by those that bring positive impact to people. Come on, guys, you know it's not me. I'm not talking about me. I'm your host, Natalie Restokian, and everything that I told you today is about our wonderful and amazing Dina Al Shibeeb, who is our guest today. And guess what? We are going to intrigue her mind and ask her questions about the most important thing, at least that matters to me, which is about women in the Arab world, women from Arab world, and how do they think if they're not in the Arab world or if they're in Arab world. I can see that she's smiling. And welcome. Hi.
Spirit. Thank you for the introduction.
Well, it's such a pleasure to have you. Though I didn't make a mistake. I said return back to Canada. I had to say turn back, but it's fine. People will understand I'm speaking in my fourth language. And أهلا وسهلا فيك. That's in Arabic, right, Dina?
Yes.
How do you say?
أهلا وسهلا.
Pariyegak in Armenian, and of course, welcome for everyone in English. So, Dina, I was thinking about talking a little bit about not our taboos, but in some ways, do you think that there are taboos related to women who live abroad and they come from Arabic roots, they have this ethics, values, the way they're raised, and they are confused between these things? As a reporter, you've been everywhere, so tell us about it.
So definitely women from the Middle East, even if they're born and raised here in Canada, so they have to deal with two cultures. First, the culture from back home, whom their parents basically practice, and they need to translate this culture or adapt to the Canadian culture as well. So there's a lot of work going on.
So you think that the work is to adapt to the Canadian culture or to hide how they're adapting to the Canadian culture from their parents? Where is the problem?
I think it's both. It's
both.
I
love it. I love this answer. Now we're getting somewhere. So you think that in many ways, they are like playing double lives?
For sure playing double life, and it's just a lot of work basically, whether they choose to be very liberal or they choose to be even conservative. So it's almost double whammy. I mean, but the story's always good at the end of the day, but it's a lot of work.
How come it's good at the end of the day when they're struggling and playing double lives? How do you see that?
Because when you achieve something and you prove yourself, it feels good, but there's a lot of pain involved for some ladies.
Give us an example of pain. Come on, nobody's hearing.
For instance, let's go back to
here.
Let's go back to high school.
Yeah.
Not even when you're adult. High school. So I remember my Libyan neighbor. So in her high school, they were taking the kids somewhere in Europe, and it's mixed boys and girls. And her parents are rather conservative. They don't allow her to travel with her parents, or her being like her mixing with other boys and girls. So I remember she was crying, telling me, oh, I'm gonna miss out. I want to be with my colleagues. I want to go to Europe. I want to see what's happening. But because of the conservative culture, she had to stay in Windsor, Ontario. That's where we used to live. And basically missed an adventure, something that could have helped her feel even more inspired. So that sometimes you see others enjoying certain freedoms. So it's the stereotypical, I guess, oppressed Arab women. But there are a lot of other stories as well where like Arab families have made a lot of success, and some of these ladies have adapted. Some might have had issues with their families taking off the hijab, but they managed to adapt, and their family also adapt and accept them. Sometimes they come from more liberal families. They don't want their daughters to take more of a religious undertone. So I guess it's very complicated and very situational, and depends on each woman's story, like what's her background, her if her parents are supportive, if they're even well off or not. Also, I think with the Arab world, we have also different classes. So different class in terms of money, education, background, and things of that sort. It's just, I guess it's very hard to put it in a nutshell, but they do have to adapt and figure out who they are with or without their culture.
Wow, that's very impressive when you say that as long as they get success. So you mean that they have to fight the culture and everything, blah, 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 at one side, and fight on the other side the success to make it go. So once they get the success, their families who come from Arab roots will be okay with them, accept them for who they are once they achieve success. Is that what you mean? Did I understand?
Yeah, for instance, the Libyan friend of mine, the colleague, she decided to wear hijab on her own. Her mom was rather hesitant with the choice, but she decided to wear hijab because the mother knew once she wears it, there's no going back in a way. But look at my friend right now. She's a doctor in Canada, and she decided later on no longer.
Congrats to your doctor! I don't know who she is, but just congratulating her.
Yeah, and she decided that she no longer wants to wear the hijab. And there's nothing wrong with women wearing hijab. I'm not just saying it should be an easy choice, whether I want to wear it or take it off. It should be easy. It shouldn't be very traumatic that I have to convince the parents that, it has to be very smooth. It should be whether I want to wear an orange t-shirt the next day. It's up to me.
Like I'm wearing like salmon.
It's beautiful. You look great.
With pink. Yeah.
Yeah, you look great.
I don't know how to do this. I mean, seriously.
So at the end of the struggle,
but
I see so many women making it.
But my question is that you're talking about hijab, and you're talking about the ethnic struggles, and you're talking about people who are coming here, and I don't know how much they are understanding that their children are in struggle. Who do you blame not as a journalist, as Dina, as a woman with Arabic background, roots, and culture? And don't talk about your parents. I'm talking in general. Who should be blamed, or who should work on himself or herself, or as a group should concentrate more to cultivate the situation to progress? I mean, the parents or the children, or the country itself, that they give them the freedom
choice
to continue whatever they do. Because as you're saying, some people want to wear the hijab, others are urged to. So,
yeah, and of course
it's to be blamed
beyond the hijab. It's beyond the hijab. Now we're talking then marriage, sexuality, and things of that sort. Virginity. So there are a lot of taboo, even for the Arab Christians. Virginity is a big, huge. So there are a lot of overlaps culturally speaking. So who to blame? I wouldn't blame no one, because at the end of the day, a lot of the Middle Easterners who came here, they had to, either for political reasons or either for economic kind of reasons, to make a better lives for their children and themselves. But they might not have thought through the decision that their children might be different than they are, culturally speaking, mentally speaking, even intellectually speaking. Of course, there are parents who are very adaptive and they're very open-minded, but I guess the struggle is with the parents who want to retain this culture and want their kids to retain the same mindset. I think it's very difficult, even if your child is an observing Muslim, Christian, whatever, he or she might not be like you. Obviously, the case will also be back home. Your children are not going to be like you, but I guess the gap will be even wider sometimes here in the West. And sometimes, like I said, sometimes parents do adapt, but there's always going to be some kind of gap.
Dina, as a journalist, when you see whatever is going on in the Arab world and you see how much the new generations from Arab countries who are born here or they came here very young as you, they are making all this progress and success and they're reaching their aims. Do you think that it is some ways it's hard for you because you are just playing a lot of roles and a lot of more responsibilities? Is there a burden on your shoulders that you hide and you have no ability to say it? You can say pass and you can just shake your head. You say yes or no, just you don't have to say the burden.
I would
Are
say
there burdens?
the burden is more social as opposed to just
What do you
career.
mean social when you say social?
Deciding to be who you are.
How do you decide who you are?
For instance, let's assume a person comes from a more religious background. Like personally, I love my parents, but I did have some initial struggle. I want to be more liberal.
Mm-hmm.
So the social aspect is more complicated. But in terms of career, I guess I come from an educated middle class, and education and career were always important for my family. My mom is an engineer, so I come from a very educated family. So in that sense, no, I do have an upper edge that my family would love to see me more successful. Maybe I guess it has to do with the mindset that it's more like the sciences that matter more. I think that's the case also with Asians, Chinese.
Sciences?
Yeah.
Can you just elaborate more the idea? What do you
I
mean?
guess in terms of my career,
As a journalist.
as a journalist, to be honest with you, initially when I went to university, I got accepted for computer science.
Mm-hmm.
But me coming from Iraq, and I came here when I was actually 18 in Canada, I was very hurt over what had happened in my country in terms of economic sanction, war. I was more preoccupied with questions, well, we have dictatorship, why is there evil? So when I was in computer science, I was not satisfied with just computer science. I wanted to heal, and I think so I switched my major to international relations.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time my parents did not approve of such decisions, saying,
Why?
how are you going to because for them, they asked me, how am I going to make money and put bread on the table with a social science degree? Because they have the immigrant mindset that you need to be in sciences, engineering, what have you, which is true. People who are in STEM, they earn more money than others, for sure, generally speaking.
Yeah, but you know, a lot of people here in Canada, they make a little money. They even work in places like they do whatever it takes, but we can all live here, right? I mean, nobody dies from hunger, or am I wrong?
No, but there is a bit of a slight advantage, or sometimes even
fear because they are coming from a country where there is war, that they should be more careful financially because what might happen. It's a psychological situation.
Yeah, so
I'm switching back to being a life coach. See, not the journalist.
No, but psychology is everything, by the way. Psychology is everything, by the way. So for me, in order to heal, I felt what I studied kind of really helped me. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the reasons why I went to the UAE, to prove my parents wrong, that I can make it happen with my social science degree and things of that sort.
Okay. What about, sorry, I'm just interrupting because I want to have many answers as I can from you, because the time is short and we don't want to like the audience to say, we're thinking about this too. So I want to ask you about things that they expect from girls who come from Middle East. Is it the same for guys or boys?
Definitely not. Generally speaking, definitely not. You need to stay
virgin. Amen to that.
Virgin till you're married. So there's more expectation. And I think with women, they expect her to adhere more to the cultural norms as opposed to men. Why? I remember it's not all families, but I don't know why Arab men have more.
It's a taboo more than it's related to value or ethic? Is it a taboo that we are just trying to avoid from one generation to another here in Canada, this situation?
I think it goes back to the sexism in our Middle Eastern culture. I mean, you have
And
honor.
here's your aha moment: sexism.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sexism.
it is, right?
We have some misogyny in our culture, and also it varies from family to family. It varies from one social class to another. It varies. I mean, there are families who are extremely supportive of their daughters, for sure. Most likely they're the educated, well-off kind of families, and of course there are like the lower income families were very supportive as well. But there is some kind of misogyny in our culture, and it's just sad.
And what about, I mean, you just look at them and they want them to be married, to have children, etc., etc. And even I see a lot of people around me who are like, I mean, they have children, they don't know anything about their lives, social lives, sexual lives. They would think that their children are, I'm not saying it's not to be virgin and go. I respect people's choices, but I'm
It's
just talking
freedom of
about the
choice.
mentality. I mean, you as one of the people who came here at 18 and you live your life in Iraq, and you have this Arabic background, and now it's merged as Canadian
Mm-hmm.
Iraqi reporter, and you have all this experience. And when it comes to virginity thing, how much do you think women or young generation of girls are suffering from this issue itself in Canada? And in your opinion, as a journalist, what might be the solution?
Okay, there are some ladies who are happy being virgin till their 30s because they want to lose it only when they're married. I respect such choice, but
So
there
that's
are
their choice, not family choice, right?
their choice because that's what they want. I fully respect that. But there are other women who might have more higher sexual libido, we don't know, who are fed up being virgins and they don't want to wait till marriage, and it's a very traumatic choice. It's very difficult. It's sorry, I don't. It's a very difficult decision for
Say it in
them.
Arabic. It's okay. I just translate it to Armenian to people. Say it. We have a great audience. Go ahead.
يكون قرار صعب for some of
It's a
them.
very hard decision. Yeah.
A very hard decision.
Tejvar borushume. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hard
So
decision.
for instance, when I was living in Dubai, because I lived in Dubai for a long time, I have a beautiful friend. She's Palestinian, gorgeous. Of course, she dates men, but she will never lose her virginity because she's scared, obviously. And I remember
You're leaving the gaps. That's fine. I respect that.
I remember we're walking and she said, Dina, my body needs sex.
Oh my God. What did you say?
Yeah, and I remember I think she was 29, 30, and she went on a date with a 38-year-old Arab guy who have obviously had sex before. He has this also a reputation. Later on, we learned. And when she went on a date with him, he asked her, how far did she go in the relationship with her ex? Physically speaking. So you see the double standards, the expectation that women should be pure.
But men are permitted to do whatever they want.
Yeah, it's so unfair. It's so unfair. It's so unfair.
Yeah. And that's what my husband did, the extra step, and he married a divorced woman like me. I love him so much. So see, very open-minded Lebanese.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I think there is some improvement that's happening right now with the current culture as well.
Okay, let's. I want to ask you a question which is related to virginity, about girls, let's say, who are sexually very hyper, and the libido is high, and this. I don't think that this is something like. It has to be like a big war, or let's say battling with the parents. But do you think, or do you advise these girls to come forward and tell their parents that, you know what, I mean, I have a sexual life, even if I'm living with you in the house? Or you just advise them to shut up and say nothing and live a double life, because it's really affecting their psychological situation?
That's a very loaded question, and I'm afraid I don't want to take responsibility.
It's not a responsibility. It's a personal opinion, Dina, not as a journalist, as a girl. For example, for me, if you tell me, it's a responsibility when you say it and you write it down and you sign it and you give it like you are the prime minister, let's say. But I'm just saying it's not, it's your opinion. I'm sharing your opinion because I want your opinion. What do you think will make them happier? These girls who are having conflict, inner conflict all the time, stuck. They should like go out, come back in a different way, and like we're home and before marriage, whatever. And their parents come from places they don't wear. On Sunday I was somewhere and somebody told me like we were young and in Lebanon they didn't let us wear bicycles. I said, be on bicycles. I said, what? Yeah, because our parents thought that we would lose our virginity. I said, what the hell are you talking about? Yeah, our meetings were like all open mind, but I mean, seriously, are you kidding me? Okay, they come from a village, but still, I mean, for me, it was like, bicycle, virginity, a girl cannot ride a bicycle? What the hell? So
it's really stupid, idiotic. I remember writing a story about this beautiful Iraqi girl in Baghdad who started this campaign of her riding a bicycle and basically publishing the photos on Facebook, on social media, and it was pretty much trending. And I think it was one of the most viral stories we had on our website on Al Arabiya English. It was really interesting that there are a lot of taboos, but I guess
why was a taboo? Because it was a challenge. She didn't lose her virginity on the bicycle. It was amazing.
I don't know why. It might not necessarily related to virginity in Iraq. It's more like women at a certain, or girls at a certain age, they should not be riding bicycles.
Yeah, but it comes from there. What is it? Because everybody says the same thing. What else? Why?
Because they see women as like an attractive being.
You think it's like that? I don't know. I haven't.
They blame women that the man might kind of lose control, which is very stupid. Because I don't understand why women should be more disciplined as opposed to men. I think the discipline should be on both sides.
Okay, as our time is just running out, I just want to ask you about comeback because I don't forget it. So, what's your advice about the virginity thing? What should happen? I mean, you think that they should confront parents to be more comfortable, or it's a choice to shut up and live double lives because that's what they should do to make everybody happy and live with the conflict?
I don't know. I don't want to know their age. You're talking about teenage girls?
No, I'm not talking. I'm talking about like over 20, 22, 20. I mean, a marriage year. I mean, after 22,
I think such women should try to have more financial independence from their parents and lead more of an independent lifestyle.
When they're independent and let's say they are financially independent, but they are still living with the family because they are just obliged.
They need to have their own separate lifestyle.
What do you mean a separate lifestyle?
Because at the end of the day, it's also not fair to impose something on your parents, especially if they're older. It's also a bit sad for the parents. So I feel like my ultimate advice, if you want to experience a certain kind of different lifestyle away from your conventional cultural norm, so please go live on your own.
Thank you so much, Dina. It was amazing having this conversation with you. And as you know, in our show, we always ask our wonderful guests, as you are one of them,
Thank you.
As the title, we say to the audience, you can do it. So if Dina could do it, had made it this far as a journalist and all the achievements in her life, let's ask her for a tip to give to our audience today. What you can do it. Go ahead, Dina, please.
Always be positive. Always believe in yourself, no matter what. And if people give you criticism, take it on a positive note to improve and be better.
Thank you so much for being with us, Dina. I hope that very soon we'll have more conversations, more topics with you. It was amazing having you. Thank you, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, YouTube. And of course, you can see Dina Ibrahim and follow her too. And Dina Al Shibeeb. Why is it written Ibrahim here, by the way?
So in the passport is Dina Ibrahim, but my last name is actually Al Shibeeb because back.
So we're going to go with Dina Al Shibeeb because I read there. I said I have to say that too. Maybe it will come in the video like that. So my warm regards to you, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Bye, guys.